indeed, that was before you just made the point that we shall be mad at our elected officials. I have had the pleasure of representing the 34th Legislative District, White Center, North Highline, West Seattle, Berry, and Vashon, Maury Island, just 2509 for the last 10 years in the legislature. And really have been pleased to lead a number of legislators in championing, first of all, support for the first Tiger Grant, and shared your disappointment with the lack of acceptance of that grant, and in working with my fellow legislators to make sure that we have the best application with support from every level of government for round 2 in federal funding for the Tiger Grant. I know the governor is very firmly in support, and the number of elected officials, the number of state legislators that I've talked to who jump on board and seek out the opportunity to be supportive is very good. The entire 11th district delegation, Senator Margarita Prentice and Bob Hasagawa and Zach Hudgens were in the 11th district today. People from the area who recognize how important the freight connections are, including Senator Claudia Kaufman, who isn't an ally I would have expected, seeks me out and makes sure that she signs on to every opportunity, every letter, every piece of legislation that we've moved. And I will continue to do so and want to work with you throughout the community in making sure we have the strongest application now and every level of government coming up with their own money to make sure that we can deliver and we have the money for the new bridge.
But Joe,
yes.
We just finished the legislative cycle and none of you introduced a $30 million bill to throw some money at this bridge. Not 120 million, 30 million. That would be a good contribution from the state coffers. I know it was a very tight session. I know it was cut, but there was money allocated to other projects, and this one didn't get it.
And it was a supplemental year, so we were tinkering to last year's budget. While most of the cuts and the tinkering you heard about in the media was about the operating budget, the transportation budget is separate, and unfortunately, no, we did not come up with a substantial amount of money, a nice state contribution, I would agree, in the supplemental transportation budget. But that doesn't mean that we're not supportive of a grant application. We're clear that all levels of government are supportive, which the federal government will be looking at to make sure of, and that you shouldn't make sure that state officials are finding that money next year when they write a new transportation budget.
But the longer we delay, the longer the start is, the longer it takes to get it.
I don't disagree with where we're at now, you're right.
Were you the person to ask the question about transportation budget questions regarding mitigation of the closure?
No.
Who's the person?
You can ask me that question. But did you want to take another question or?
Another question or two. I'm not here to add to Harold's agenda.
You said that not all, we need to get all levels of government support. What levels of government weren't supported so that we as a community can focus our efforts? Clearly you were an advocate. Equally as clearly, there were some people that were not advocates then. We need to know who those folks are. And we can talk to you, you're a friend. Who are the people that did vote for this relative to the people that did vote for the Tiger Grant that was accepted?
Is a port involved? Okay.
I don't think it's worth singling out anybody to go after as our enemy. I think what we want to do is make sure that we're bringing everyone together. I know that we now have stronger support from the city of Seattle than we had before. I think we want to be thankful for that. Not be mad about where people were in the past, but invite everyone in. And as we talk to elected officials and urge their support, I think it is important that if you don't get the warm response you're hoping for, you expected the first time, that you not shut that door, that you keep that conversation open and further educate them about the impacts on the community and the need here so that they come around. If they're not there now or you don't get the warm response the first time, that they come around and we gain their support and their advocacy more than just their support.
Joe, one final question.
Yes.
I understand how we get here today and what we're looking for tomorrow, but as a resident and a businessman, what can you do for me right now, right here, to make sure I survive long enough for you to find the funding to get a bridge or to repair the damage that's been done?
And that, Harold has already said some of that will come later in the agenda as far as state resources. I will work with you in all of the business development I can, and we'll work with the Department of Commerce and Transportation both.